Welcome to the Reality Check, Psychosis is Real, So is Recovery podcast.
I'm Dr. Ashley Weiss. I'm a child adolescent psychiatrist.
And I'm Serena Chaudhry. I'm a clinical social worker.
And we are the co-founders of EPIC-NOLA, which is an Early Psychosis Intervention Clinic in New Orleans, and also the co-founders of CALM, Clear Answers to Louisiana Mental Health. Welcome to the latest episode of Reality Check. Psychosis is real, so is recovery.
On this episode, we're delighted to welcome our very special guest, Michelle Hammer.
For those of you that do not know, Michelle is a prominent schizophrenia activist, advocate, and speaker who spends her time passionately fighting stigma. Michelle is a native New Yorker who's featured in the WebMD documentary Voices, which was nominated for an award at the Tribeca Film Festival. After her diagnosis, Michelle channeled her artistic talents and fearless personality to benefit the mental health community as a whole. And we're going to talk about a lot of things related to Michelle's awesome work. Welcome, and thank you for doing this for us on a Friday afternoon.
Yeah,
how you doing? Hey, thanks for having me. How's it going?
It's going well, and we're totally looking forward to you seeing us in person in a couple of weeks at In My Mind.
Oh yeah, I'm so excited.
Your second appearance at In My Mind.
Our second appearance.
Da-da-da.
Will it be as good as the first? Who knows?
I know. I feel like it's so much pressure now.
Yeah, right? Oh no.
It's going to be a forever thing now.
Yay.
So let's talk a little bit about kind of going back for you, and tell us a little bit about your initial misdiagnosis, subsequent diagnosis, and how did things kind of unfold for you?
Oh man, where do I start? I kind of, when I share my story, I kind of talk like in high school, things kind of like, that's when things sort of started. I started acting differently. And like my mom noticed, and things that were going on was that I always had this voice in my head, but I thought that everyone had a voice in their head. But this voice would always tell me, everything you say is dumb, everything you do is stupid, everything you do is just the worst. So don't do anything, don't talk to people, don't speak to people, things like that. So because of this voice in my head telling me to do this, I became very introverted and I wasn't acting like myself. But also, like a lot of people that have schizophrenia and don't know it, they start blaming the people around them, things like that. So I thought that my mother was trying to hurt me, sabotage me, want me dead, all these things. I came up with like all these scenarios. So when I go to college, I think, okay, mom's not around, everything's going to be great. First few weeks, amazing. And then all of a sudden, I start thinking my best friend, my roommate, is trying to hurt me, sabotage me, want me dead. And then it was just like, it clicked. I was like, this doesn't make any sense. Why would I be having these same thoughts about my roommate that I had about my mom? My mom was right. Like, that's a really hard thing to admit sometimes, you know. My mom was right, you know, something still's going on. So I made an appointment with the health center to see a therapist. And then I remember I saw this guy, and he almost kind of just asked me a bunch of things on a checklist. I didn't know what to say. I was very confused. And then he told me at the end of the meeting that I was bipolar. Here's a pamphlet. Make an appointment with the school psychiatrist. And I was like, okay. And I just feel like, when you hand somebody a pamphlet, why is that cover just so depressing?
Right. We need to make a new cover for pamphlets.
That's what I'm trying. I want to redo mental illness pamphlets. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well,
I want
you've
to look
got
at
a
somebody
lot.
happy.
Right.
Why does this girl have to be crying on the cover? Like, you've been diagnosed with bipolar. Look at your life, and a girl is crying on the cover. That's really uplifting. Thanks a lot.
Very encouraging.
I'm like, okay, yeah, very encouraging. Thanks a lot. Right. So,
promoting.
I go on these medications for bipolar. They I don't know what I'm supposed to be feeling because I don't know what's going on. I've always never really felt super happy. But when I was really happy, people are like, you're a little too much. And I'm like, okay. So I was like, just subdued, unhappy, didn't know what to do. So things didn't go so well. So in college, I ended up in the psych ward 3 separate times. It wasn't a fun time. then I saw a different doctor that just gave me like a medication that just really subdued me, calmed me down. And I finally got on that regularly after skipping a bunch of different times. Like I finally got on it regularly. My coach was kind of like, listen, if you're going to like hang around on this team, you need to take your medicine because every time you don't, something happens. And I'm like, you're right. So that happened. And so after college, I didn't see that doctor anymore. I wasn't on medicine. And I told my mom I had to go see a doctor or like a therapist or a psychiatrist. And needed medicine. So, being the mother that she is, I'm 22 at this time. At this time. I wish I was still 22. I'm not 22 anymore. Just with that reserve. And she goes, I found you a therapist with decades of experience. But what comes with decades of experience? Just think about that. This biddy was like 70 years old. She was like 70 years old. Like, thanks, Mom. I know you're looking for experience, but like you want your 22-year-old daughter to relate to a 70-year-old British woman? Like, really? Okay.
Yeah,
sorry.
maybe
That's very ageist of me. That's really ageist of me. But like, does my mom not know me? Like, really? Okay. But anyway, the only reason I was speaking to this woman was because I wanted to talk to the psychiatrist because I knew I needed medicine. So that's all I used her for, really, was like, yeah, I'm seeing things. So then I talked to the psychiatrist, and you guys just know me. I am just very, hello, like New York, like I'm going to talk to you. It's just going to be what it is. Like he's asking me certain questions, and at one point I'm like, I'm not going to answer that. And he goes, no, you came here, you paid a lot of money, you're answering my questions. And I was like, somebody is holding me accountable. I like this guy. So I kept seeing him, and then it was kind of like, after like discussing my symptoms, he's like, are they in the room? I was like, they are standing right next to you. He's like, yeah, I think you have schizophrenia. And I was like, really? But yeah, that's what happened. And then it like, I always tell the story, like I was out with my best friends from college for like dinner, and I got all like, I was like, I'm going to tell them this, right? And I'm like, guys, I just want to tell you I have schizophrenia. And they were like, isn't that what you had the whole time? Like, that couldn't have been more obvious. And like, yeah, we told you that. And I'm like, all right, well, okay. I guess it was that obvious. And why do I care about people that don't know me and they're going to judge me when my best friends already knew, don't care. And it's whatever. So that's the story. That's my answer to that's my long-winded answer to your question.
No, I think that's a perfect long-winded answer to like a common thing. And
yeah,
the like a notion that like a bipolar disorder diagnosis is somehow like better than a schizophrenia diagnosis, or I don't know. I mean, like, why? I mean, it does matter in terms of like what you said, like getting your medication right. Like it actually
matters a lot.
Does matter.
Right. That's what sometimes people are like, I don't want to be diagnosed with schizophrenia. I don't want that diagnosis. And I'm always like, well, getting the right diagnosis means you could get treated for the correct issue.
Right.
Don't you want that?
Totally.
I was totally struck by, I don't remember this part of the story, that after this happened, when you were at college or you were feeling, right, like not yourself and thinking that your roommate was out to get you, that you had the insight to know that this was different and to seek help. Like that's super, I don't want to say super rare, but I think really an important point to note, right? To encourage people to listen to themselves and their gut instincts when they think something is off.
Yeah, I just knew it didn't make any sense because it was the same exact thoughts. And I was like, that doesn't make sense. She's not doing that. This makes no sense. But in earlier years, I believed my mom was doing those things. I thought like she was really out to get me, but she wasn't. So I kind of felt really bad, but that was a teenage daughter thing.
Yeah, I have.
It is what it is. She had that book. I remember she had that book that said like, my teenage daughter is crazy. I saw that book on her nightstand one time.
Oh, I've never seen this book.
It's something like that. It was something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I got told a story yesterday by a mom of one of my patients who was telling me about issues with her own mom, and that her mom got in the car, and in the passenger seat she had this like how to deal with your mother book with like tons of highlights and tabs and everything, and her mom was like, what's this? And she's like, oh, nothing, like everything's great. You're like, it's my friends.
It's so funny.
So I guess if if you were to, well, we've talked about you've said to be self-reflective and to try to make, if things don't make sense, then it might be something to bring up. I guess I'm curious what you I think it's hard sometimes when people are building their narrative to try to make sense of something that doesn't make sense. I'm just wondering what your like rationale was about why your friends might be out to get you.
I mean, I don't know. I just knew it was the same thought. I knew it was the exact same way of thinking. I felt the same voice. I thought the same thing. And that's what I was like, no. Just this, it was the same pattern of thinking. It was the exact same copy of thoughts. And like, I knew she would not do that.
Right.
And I didn't know why I was thinking that. But I knew it was it was the same thing. I just knew it was the exact same thing. And I knew it made no sense. And that's how I figured it out. And I'm not saying like, it's not like I figured it out and things went so well, It still took a very long time to become a stable and, living a well-managed life. But having that insight was the start. So at least I got that insight. And finding insight is the hardest part for most people.
Was there a certain, like we've talked a lot about your thoughts and like the pattern of thought. Was there a feeling that was associated with it?
Was there a feeling? I probably, yeah. It's just like all encompassing feeling.
Right.
Yeah. Like that whole, like, when you're so paranoid and you believe it in every ounce of you, like that this thing is going on, but then you kind of have to be reality checked. Like that's not happening. Like, what are you talking about? Like, nobody's reading your mind. What are you thinking? Like, you're not psychic. Like you are not psychic. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. I think we talk like, I'll just find like in my own, just being with people, with patients, that there's, they're asked about their thoughts so much, but then I hear them trying to describe it, like the feeling is so like intense, like associated with it all. And that's sometimes like really difficult to manage when like the thought process isn't making sense, but you feel it so in your body and you feel it so encompassing. And that's a difficult part to actually put into words, when you're asking what's going on with someone.
Yeah, you believe it. You totally believe it, and you come up with a million different stories to make it real. And just like, I feel like figuring it out is hard, and like just any kind of weird delusion that you're having, like you make up a million stories about how it's true, but then like if things are happening like that, I'll call a friend and be like, did this happen? And they're like, no, but what about this? No, but what about this? No, but what about this? No, but what about that? Oh, something like that did happen, but all this other stuff that you're talking about, that never happens.
Right. You're doing your reality check.
Exactly. That's what I've called a lot of friends and just been like, hey, did this ever happen? And they're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. No, that's so good. And that's, right. We want to encourage or try and encourage people to find their tools, their ways to reality check and help get clarity. So you were talking about how it's taken you a while to live this well-managed life, and you're living what seems to be a really well-managed life. Tell us what your life is like in 2024. What's a day in the life of Michelle?
A day in the life. Well, my dog likes to wake me up by jumping on me and like licking me all over the face, which is so gross. So my dog wakes me up, and then I watch the first 15 minutes of Kelly and Ryan. Kelly and Mark. I watched the first 15 minutes, and that's when I take my medicine. And then I'll check my email and see what I have to do pretty much for the day. Am I responding to these people, making that video, making videos that I have to make, packaging packages, going to the post office, going to like Fountain House, the clubhouse, or the gallery meetings, figuring out that stuff. You know, every day is different when I run my own business because I really never know what's happening. Am I recording podcasts this day? Am I having a meeting with these people on that day? You know, everything is different. But it always starts off pretty much with that Kelly and Mark 15 minutes in the morning.
That's awesome. That's a great tool for remembering to take your meds.
I didn't know that Ryan had changed to Mark.
Yes. Ryan's doing Wheel of Fortune now.
I saw that, but I did not know if it meant he wasn't doing the morning one. I was like, that's an intense gig to do both.
Yeah, it is.
So one of the things that you did these videos where you did security cam footage, and that got a lot of like chatting on social media. So what kind of pushed you to actually like open up people into your space, like into your home environment?
Right. Well, I first started doing like a video, like I was trying to explain to my psychiatrist that I could not stop talking to myself. I just could not. And he was like, can you get it on video? And I was like, I'll try. So one time, like I set up my computer photo booth video thing, and I was just kind of looking off, and then I thought like, oh, I didn't even get anything. Let me review the video. And it was me like making the weirdest faces, doing such strange things. And then I had put it on YouTube, but I set it as private, and I sent it to him. And he's like, you know, you put that on YouTube. I was like, oh no, it's private. Don't worry. And then one day I was like, you know what? Let's make it public. Why not? And then I was like, let me try to get more videos. But then I tried so hard and I wouldn't do it because I knew there was a camera on me. I went to my friend's house and she had little cameras for her dogs. And I was like, oh, are those expensive? And she goes, they're cheap on Amazon. And I was like, oh, little security cameras are cheap. I had no idea. So I decided to buy one on Amazon and I stuck it in my living room. And then I started getting all of these videos. And I was like, let me just show people what it's like, what schizophrenia is when you're talking to hallucinations, having these episodes. Because if you think of like a person with schizophrenia having an episode, you might just like think someone's running around, being dangerous, holding weapons, trying to hurt people. Like, no, that's me on my couch watching TV and then I'm talking to nobody. That is not violent at all. Like one time I elbowed my futon and this woman said, you're dangerous. And I'm like, you know, no futons, you know, you were damaged in this, like, you know, in this video. Like it's okay. You know, there's no violence here. Like the futon was fine. Everything's safe. Like calm down. You know, it's all good. Like no one's there. Yeah. Like that's the most violent thing that ever happened in any of those videos was that I elbowed my futon. But like that's the whole point. Nothing's happening. And then people are like, I do the same thing too. Am I schizophrenic? And I'm like, no. Like, no. Like I take a lot of medication and this happens. Like if you're just talking to yourself, that's a whole different thing.
Right.
You know, I think the videos are awesome in that they really like help to demonstrate what some symptoms look like and also to destigmatize, right? To get these like wild ideas out of people's heads and replace them with reality. What's some of the positive feedback you've gotten from those videos?
A lot of the positive feedback is more like thank you for like showing me what my like loved one goes through, things like that, or just breaking the stigma, you know, all like answers like that. And then I also get like negative feedback, like you're an actress, and I'm like, thank you, but no. You know, but like
that's a compliment, right?
I'll take it. A lot of people that be like, yeah, well then how did you press the button to record? And it's like, read the caption, people. It says security camera always recording. People just don't read a caption. But a lot of people just like that I'm breaking the stigma, that I'm showing what it looks like, and you know, and a lot of people are like, that looks just like, you know, my friend or my loved one when they talk to themselves. You're showing what it really looks like, you know? Just showing people what it looks like. That, you know what I mean? There's no danger. Maybe the futon, but there's no danger.
Well, those kind of reactions, like that's the point you're exactly making, is that yes, you're still so stigmatized and misinformed that you think that this isn't actually happening.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And people thinking that it's like nothing. It's like, well, maybe that's the whole point, that it's nothing. They're
Very
like, I'm not even
true.
watching anything. Yeah, because it's nothing. There's no big deal. Calm down. Like, calm down. Stop saying schizophrenia is the worst illness you could ever have. Like, to some people, might think that, but there's many other illnesses, and we're not playing the suffering Olympics anyway,
Right.
Oh gosh, yes, you should put that on a shirt.
Yes.
The suffering Olympics.
Nobody wins.
And I think too that you saying like I'm on medication, but still have these experiences sometimes, and that doesn't mean you're not unwell. I mean, all of us are trying to like live a well life, but that
Right.
doesn't mean that everything is like roses all the time, schizophrenia or
course.
not. And
Yeah.
I'll have a lot of my patients that I've like shown them the video because they don't want to like tell me in the moment. And I'm like, what are
Mhm.
they saying? And they're like, oh, I can't tell you. You're going to think I'm like really sick. And I'm like, no, I'm just like curious and going to like help figure out a way to maybe like deal with it. And I'll show them like, see, it doesn't like, it doesn't mean that you're ill or like going to be violent and elbow the futon. It's just like, everybody coughs sometimes.
Right. Sometimes people they'll ask me what I'm talking about, and it's like it's so pointless and stupid. So sometimes I'll include the conversation, and then people don't even comment on the conversation.
Right.
Like, why do people ask all the time? And I'm like, I think the most recent one I posted, I was like, they were arguing with me about the best boy bands. Like,
Oh wow!
who cares? Like, it's the dumbest conversation all the time. Like, just before, I thought it was so funny to tell the coffee shop people that they're not hiring my dog because she's not a DEI hire. Dog, whatever inclusion, I thought it was so funny. And my hallucination thought it was so funny too. Like, this happened like 2 hours ago. Right. But my partner was like, who the hell are you talking to? And what are you saying? And I'm like, you don't want to know. You don't want to know.
That
Trust
is
me.
private information.
Yeah.
Well, I have to ask, what boy band did you think was the best?
I mean, my personal best was the Backstreet Boys, but this hallucination kept telling me that the newer stuff was terrible. And I was like, I agree with you. Stop yapping. I know.
That's amazing.
I don't like the newer Backstreet Boys. The older stuff was better. The newer stuff they came out with sucks. I know. Like, I know. Jeez. And then I was like, shut the hell up. And then I saw the camera and I was like, oh, it's fake. Okay, this is gone. Thank God.
Right. Oh.
I was like, shut up. They argue. They're just the worst arguers, and they're so annoying. God.
What's the
And
best?
they're like, people, can you try to touch them? And I'm like, no, I can't touch them. And I'm not going to try to because you don't realize in that moment. Except for, I guess I tried to elbow one up at one time. That one time, I guess I tried to elbow somebody and it didn't work. I don't know.
That didn't work.
That one time.
The futon got you.
Mm-hmm.
So you are wearing your couture clothing right now. Audience can't see, but I want to hear about your clothing line, about all of the cool things that you're doing in your entrepreneurial world.
Sure. So, a whole bunch of years ago, I started Schizophrenic NYC, and it's a whole mental health and lifestyle brand. And so, like, t-shirts, some have like the Rorschach test on them. Some have like slogans like the one I'm wearing now is "Don't be paranoid, you look great." There's like, "It's not a delusion, you are incredible. Define normal. I'm mentally ill and I don't kill." And it's just, I kind of set up pop-ups on the street. I sell the shirts. I also sell some artwork that I have. I wrote a book. Should you hide your mental illness? I mean, no. Should you hide your schizophrenia? That's what it's called. Let me remember the name of the book. Right. And pillboxes that are fun. Sell some totes, some mugs. Looking around the room in here to remember what I sell. Fun stuff. Make some leggings. And I usually have pop-up shops. I've been all over the city, and it's, wherever I go, I'm having the most ridiculous conversations with people. But I always meet psych nurses, and I'm always like, don't commit me. I'm good. Don't commit me. But I meet people from all over the country and all over the world, and it's always a fun time. And I love Australians. They're so nice.
Oh, that's good to know.
They buy the most. Australians
Really?
buy the most. Yes, they love mental health, those Australians. I love Australians.
Hopefully you'll get an invite to Australia.
I wish, right?
Someone invite
That would be
her.
awesome. That would be so cool.
Shout out to the folks at Origin in Australia.
Bring Michelle Hammer to you.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of first episode people out in Australia that do research in that area. So,
Cool.
well, we are really excited to see you in person very soon. And your website is schizophrenic.nyc.com. We will put a link.
But it really is schizophrenic.nyc.
Oh, well, then I need to be corrected. Schizophrenic.nyc.com?
No, just schizophrenic.nyc.
Yes, NYC. Oh my God, all the times that we've been on it and
Oh gosh, yes.
I own that domain, schizophrenic.nyc.com, because people have said it wrong so many times. So I own that domain as well.
How did you get that name without having to have a .com or .org? That's
because they're in New York City. They have the .nyc domain, and then they haven't done it in a long time. But there was the .nyc awards, and somehow I entered, and I don't know how, but I won, and I won $5,000.
Amazing,
Whoa.
Right? That was awesome.
Yes, that's so great.
Yeah, but you have to live in New York City, and the credit card you use must be linked to a New York City address to get the .nyc.
Oh.
They need to start a .NOLA. Maybe you can help us.
That would be cool. We gotta talk to your governor or whatever.
We won't comment on that conversation. Thank you so much. We'll leave you to your beautiful New York City weather.
79 degrees.
Yes, on a Friday evening at the end of September.
That's great. So it's been a pleasure, Michelle, and we'll see you soon. Thank
All right,
you.
I'll see you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Until next time, thanks for taking the time to get your reality check. And remember, psychosis is real, so is recovery.
If you have enjoyed this episode or found it useful, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts from and check out the website calmnola.org.